Welcome to an exciting adventure on a special night of riding through the unknown. I'm your host, Michael, and tonight's guest, I will say I am so grateful to one for coming on the show, and two for being up at an ungodly hour in the morning, but circumstances where she's up anyway, so I'm grateful that we're able to do this episode. And we are also, I am so grateful and hoping that the episode holds because where she's at is actually an active zone. So if she cuts out, it is due to circumstances beyond control. It may not be Wi Fi related. I will just say that. And so, with that, I am going to turn it over and allow my guest to introduce herself to you all. I had so many wonderful conversations with her. I'm super excited to see what she's going to share with us. So I'm going to turn it over to the one, the only UFO extraordinaire, Polly Rottermann.
Oh, come on, keep going. Michael, how are you doing? This is such an honor. How are you doing? Thank you so much for the invite. I'm so happy.
I am doing well. Had a little issue this morning, but so far so good, and so I'm hoping it's done and over with and don't have to worry about it for 2 weeks like other people that I know. And so hoping, fingers crossed, the body responds quickly like usual. But how are you doing?
Okay. I'm okay, I pray for better times, but I guess every day we wake up and see the sun again, it's a blessing. So I'm okay. My boy, it's okay. My family, it's okay. And I guess we are okay. We are alive. So that's everything, I guess.
That is. So why don't you share with the audience a little bit about yourself?
Oh my God. Well, I was born in Bogota, Colombia, year 76. I am the eldest of four sisters. And well, I kind of had a regular childhood. But I guess since I was a little child, my empathy was something very strong on me, not only with people and children, but I guess I was feeling paranormal things. So, um, kind of, when you go to sleep and you feel things touching your legs or your body and you don't understand, like, you don't have cats or dogs in your house, but something is kind of touching your body and you don't understand what is going on. And I used to have like these flying dreams where I really could see myself like jumping and flying, and feeling, like when you are in the plane, suddenly the plane jumps and you feel in your belly this, hole. Well, exactly that feeling. So I used to close my windows and the doors of my wardrobes because I used to feel that there were things there like watching me or something. So for me, like going to sleep wasn't fun. I used to cover myself to the head, I didn't want to see whatever was going on there. And so there was this time, I remember we were really, I was really small. My sister was sleeping in front of me. And me too. But when I was sleeping, I felt suddenly like this strong feeling that I need to wake up, wake up, wake up. So I remember I woke up and I sat on my bed and I could see the room and my sister sleeping in her bed in front of me. But I could see this huge spider, like a huge tarantula, the size of a beetle car, um, kind of grabbing my sister and trying to take her out, like from the window. And so I was in shock and pinching myself, like, but I am awake. I am aware of the situation. I can see my sister, and I want to scream, but my voice just don't come out. It's like I am physically paralyzed. I think that's the first time I felt for the first time that paralyzed feeling when you are aware of your environment somehow. And it's really anguishing because, I wanted to scream like that, but I could not. And so in a second, everything suddenly disappears. And I am just there, kind of lost and trying to understand what happened. I covered myself and I went to sleep again. So I didn't know even how to talk with my parents about this. What could I say? Like, how are they going to believe me? I don't have a proof. Maybe I was dreaming. So I just let it be. But I was growing with these strange feelings that I was feeling strange things. And I thought it was related to ghosts. What happens is that when I was 7 years old, well, I was already at school, and I started learning in a French school. I speak also French, and there I learned English. And when I came back from school, I used to pick a book from my parents' library in the third floor of my place. And both of my parents they worked in the medical ambience. My father was a pediatrician, rest in peace, and my mother is a nurse. So that library was full of medical books. And I loved medicine for some reason. I love to watch, to just to look to those pictures and understand our body from the inside out, seeing the pictures of the lungs and the heart. And it was beautiful in my eyes. I could not really understand the language because it was medical language, but still, I was really interested in medicine. But there was this time that I picked one of those books, and when I opened it, the first thing I could see was a triangle. I didn't know what I was looking at, but it was a triangle with three lights. It was a black and white picture, and I don't know whose that book was. But what happened is that the moment I saw that craft, again, everything around me stopped. Time stopped. Bogota is a huge city. You can hear the cars and the birds, and usually I could hear my sisters in my home and my grandmother, but nothing. Everything went quiet. I could not hear nothing. And it's like the image kind of made a download inside my head. So if you imagine a computer running numbers, numbers and numbers and numbers and numbers, I was seeing green numbers running through my brain, series of zeros, threes, ones, and fives. And it was like crazy. I could not understand what was going on. But those numbers were translated in my head like images. So I suddenly could see that craft in the book hovering outside planet Earth. And I guess that's the first time I got a telepathic message somehow. Because what I felt inside my head was a simple message for this little 7 years old girl. This is not the kind of plane that you know. This is a different kind of technology. We don't live here, but we come to visit you. And that's it. A second after that, everything stopped again, like with the tarantula situation. And all the sounds, I could hear my sisters, and everything came back to normal. Like I came back somehow to reality. It's like they can play with your reality somehow according to some kind of a specific frequency that they kind of touch you at some point of your life if you need to be awakened, and then you will have your experience, whatever it is. And so I was in shock. I just had a seat and I was trying to understand again, as with the tarantula, what happened. And I said, okay, so either this is my imagination or I'm going crazy. But the difference this time is that I just came back from school. I am totally aware. I was not sleeping, I was having my normal life. I thought I was going to see a medicine book as usual. And suddenly this happened. So what is going on? And again, who am I going to talk to? What am I going to say to my parents? So I said, you know what? Maybe I will hear my um, friends at school talking about something like this, or I will see a craft like this, or, something. So I started just my own research. Back then, we didn't have computers or internet or whatever, so everything was through books, magazines. I started researching back then about past lives and reincarnation, thinking that maybe this was related to like a ghost situation or something. But yeah, I started my research at a very early age. And then we started receiving in Colombia all the TV series from the States, like Star Trek and V. And so I suddenly realized that, oh my God, like, there is awareness about this phenomenon. People are doing movies about this. So someone knows about this, and I don't know nothing like that. And this is Colombia, so people, no one is talking about this. So it's like from that moment I was awakened. My research did not stop. On the contrary, It became an everyday situation where I needed to know what was going on. And so I started my BA in journalism and social communication. And when I finished, I decided to leave Colombia. Well, I had some tough experiences there, and that was the main reason I left. But there was also a strong feeling that I need to come to the place I live now for some reason. It's in the other side of the world. We're talking about the Middle East. My parents were like, you're going to the other side of the world, but I knew this was the place for me. And the more years go by, the more I see that nothing is a coincidence, but more synchronicities. Because only when I came here, just because technology is more advanced, well, we already started to have internet here, and that was the first time I heard Bob Lazar talking. So, everyone can have his own opinion about Bob Lazar. But in my case specifically, it was a confirmation of whatever was going on. So I heard for the first time a guy that is saying that he worked for the government inside Area 51. He's talking about reverse technology, and the government knows about this. And we, the public, we don't know about this. Like, that was an atomic bomb for me. Because I said, okay, so I'm not the only one. This is a confirmation for me. The government knows, and we don't know. So when I came to this new country, I could not work here as a journalist because the laws are different. So I used my journalism in order to research every single everything, podcaster story, incidents in history, you name it, you know, because I needed to understand not only about the phenomenon, but about myself, what happened to me. And if there were another experiencers like me, you know. So I guess that's where I found more fun too. And I understood that, people are sharing their sightings. And, this was like a bomb for me. I said, oh my God, like now I understand what I came to this place, because I needed to see with my own eyes that this is huge, you know? And so during all this process, coming to this new country, learning a new language, my fourth language by this time, suddenly in the middle of my life, 2006, I'm having pretty bad headaches. I had headaches like for 4 years, 24/7. And there was this day that I almost fainted. When I went to hospital in the ER after an MRI, the doctors told me that I needed to go as soon as possible, like in the next 24 hours, through a brain surgery, because I was about to lose my left eye, and they found two cysts inside my brain. So if you see my left side of the head, you see I have here a cyst that is the size of a tennis ball. She's still there and she's fine, but Why am I telling this story? Because they found another cyst in the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland, for those that don't know, is between your two eyes. Here, like, between your two eyes inside your brain.
The third eye.
And during that surgery, when they tried to extract the cyst from the nose, the whole thing exploded. But what happened? The doctor came afterwards and told me that during the surgery, when they got to that cyst in the pituitary gland, he saw what looked like a little cube, something like now I guess it might have been an implant with a cube shape. It was so tiny that this they could not see this in the MRIs, but um, what he explained is that when he tried to take the cyst with that thing that he found inside from my nose, the whole thing exploded. And so I actually, they saved my life on the spot because the fluids from my brain were just flowing out from my nose and I was about to die. So now that I think about it, I think maybe it could have been an implant. And maybe it was kind of, it auto destroyed itself somehow when they tried to take it out. So I don't have it. I have, of course, all the MRIs, scanners, but you don't see the implant, and I don't have it. I didn't know back then that this could be related or not, so I just continued with my life. Thanks God, everything is okay now, and I feel much better. But what happened is that in 2013, I wanted to get pregnant. And my boy, now he's a 10 years old, beautiful, amazing gentleman boy. I'm in love. Um, I brought him to this world through a sperm donor. And eventually everything was through IVF. But what started happening is that I was starting having this situation where, and specifically during my ovulation cycles, I was going to sleep and the feeling is that I get paralyzed again. I'm starting wondering if that's kind of a part of the process when they contact you, this paralyzing situation. But I go to sleep and I feel paralyzed again. And it's like in a second, I feel like I suddenly land in another soil. It looks like if you see pictures of Mars, I guess the best way I can describe it, it's like a Martian soil, very red sand, like the Australian sands, um, very rocky mountains. Um, I don't feel cold or hot. It's a very nice situation, a very little, like a little windy, but nice, but it doesn't look like planet Earth. you know.
It's
Um,
interesting you say that because there is a spot near Area 51 that fits that description. They actually film movies of Mars there.
well, yeah, it's very strange. And well, I say it looks like a Martian soil because we can see it in pictures, and so you can kind of understand like the Martian soil situation. Um, and I kind of land there and I feel lost. I'm looking everywhere and I don't understand how did I get here? I just went to sleep. Like, what is going on again? And so I start walking and walking and walking and wandering, and suddenly I see very far away a figure coming towards me. This figure, at some point I can see it's not really walking, it's kind of hovering towards me, but when it gets to very near, like 2 meters from me, I can see I am looking at a little child. This is a little boy, a 5, 6 years old boy. He looks very humanoid, beautiful boy. He's got these huge eyes, though. Um, they look like the Gray's eyes when you talk about the almond black, huge eyes. But the rest of him was superhumanoid, the hair, everything, a beautiful boy. So, you know, my first impression or feeling was more like a motherhood instinct was immediately awakened, where I felt this boy was mine and I need to take care of him. So I was asking questions. Who are you? Where are your parents? Like, where are we? What are we doing here? But he wasn't really answering. It's like he extended his hand. And I took his hand, and through his touch, he could it was kind of like a telepathic situation where he could calm me down and tell me that I don't have nothing to fear, that everything will be fine. And he was kind of guiding me. I thought I was the one trying to find a shelter, but he was the one taking me somewhere. Till we got to this point where I suddenly see a tent, a little tent in the middle of nowhere. It looks like a very simple, no matter tent, like a biblical tent, Jesus tent for 10 people. Um, and I felt like, oh my God, like, great, we have shelter and maybe his family is here. So let's see what's going on. And he opened the tent. But when I go inside, Michael, I guess that is the shock of my life. Because again, reality changes. And so when I go inside, well, this is not a tent. This is a craft. This is a huge, round craft. Like, it's so big that I cannot see the end of it. And the feeling is that I am just in one room of a huge compound. I can see 2 floors. In the second floor, I can see like black smoked windows all around. And the first floor looked crystal clean, sterile, like, like impossible clean. I don't know how you clean something like that, but it looks like an ER place. Suddenly, in my left side, I could see a kind of a Lego stairs structure, and there is an entity sitting there. It looks more like a hologram. But this one tells me, um, we are glad you are here because you are the only one that can help us and save us right now. And so I said, like what? Like, who are you guys? What is going on? This was a tent. How am I here? Who is this boy? Like, I don't get it. And when I'm losing it again, the boy that picked me up in the desert, he takes my hand again. He counts me down again. And he raises his hand again. And now I can see the whole place. We are talking about an ER. I can see now about 50 beds. In each one of those beds, there is a woman having birth. Um, these women are in different stages of pregnancy, and some of the babies were already born. Next to the women beds, there are like little beds for those babies. And suddenly I could see, in the middle of this craft, there is like this black, like this white, bright light coming from the middle. And I could see suddenly the praying mantis. She was standing there. And I guess that is the moment where the brain tries to, you feel like a shock in your brain because this is an insectoid, huge, that you've never seen before. The brain is kind of trying to understand what you are looking at, and it's a shock, but amazingly, I did not feel scared or threatened. On the contrary, when I looked into the mantis' eyes, she looked at me straight into my eyes with her beautiful eyes, and I could see the universe through her. It's like through her eyes, I could see a profound knowledge about creation, the universe, DNA, evolution. You know, I cannot even explain. This is an entity that knows everything about the creation of the universe somehow. But the message was just straight. She looked into my eyes and she told me, now it's time to do your job. And so, for some reason, I immediately understood that I need to help all those women and baby with the knowledge that I have about medicine. I never studied medicine, but for some reason I was so attracted to it since I was a little girl. that I guess somehow I had the knowledge to help all those women and babies. And so I started running and grabbing in my hands everything I could. I checked every single one of those women and babies. And I guess now in retrospective, I understand that my empathy was very important here because I could really support every single woman and every single baby. I could even, you know, hug the babies, just show them what is love, what is hug, what is to sing for a baby. What I need to say is that all those babies were completely humanoid, but they all had the grays, black almond eyes. All of them.
Hybrids.
Yes, that's my conclusion now after many years. Yes. And so the women, well, they were in labor, so of course they were stressed, but my feeling is that they don't know that they are in a craft or something, like they are not aware of the alien situation or the hybridization program that is going on there. I don't know how they play with every single one of the realities, but including mine, because again, the desert, the tent, everything is, but somehow they can make it. And after I finish checking all the women and all the babies, and I feel I did my job, everything stops again in a second. And I go back to my bed, and I suddenly wake up like I understand I went through this experience again. And I am trying to understand what happened and questioning again what's going on. And, when you track it, I understand that this was happening during my ovulation cycles, especially when I was trying to get pregnant. I was having issues getting pregnant. I was losing my pregnancies. So at some point, now that I see, what happened, I see the synchronicities, and my question would be, was I one of those women too? I don't know. But
It sounds
finally,
like it.
yeah, I don't know. My boy was born in 2015. And but what I need to say too is that one time there was one of those times when I woke up after the tent experience that I felt really lost, and I was having a coffee, and suddenly I looked into my leg and I saw this weird mark. Um, it looks like a cat paw printed on my leg, kind of a burn print, something. It looks like a cat paw. And having some knowledge about medicine, I started checking my body. I was not having like a respiratory situation problem, like I was not having another marks in my body, kind of an allergy. So this was so weird. And that mark was there for 24 hours and it disappeared. I don't have an explanation. And I guess that's why this is so important to share our experiences, because We don't have another way to compare, maybe someone hears my story and had a what looks like a cat paw mark after an alien experience, and maybe we can compare and see if the same species are related, or this is why talking is so important, and why you and your work is so important too, because we have the opportunity to share our experiences through your platforms.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Well, thank you. And I want to point out it sounds like you were part of what they call Project Surrogate, and that's where women are used to give birth to hybrids. So, all those times that you lost your child could be that they took the child because it was a hybrid and it wasn't ready to be brought up here. And I kind of agree with some of the people in the chat room that the little child that came to get you and was escorting you around and keeping you calm might have been one of those children grown up
Yes,
because
that's
they
my
grow.
feeling too.
Yeah,
That's
because
my feeling
time.
too. Sometimes I am asked if I have, if I know, because sometimes they let you see your own hybrid kids. In my case, I haven't had this experience where I was specifically shown that I have a child, but the feeling, when I saw him, I it's like I just felt it. This child is mine. So I pretty much feel that's my boy too, but I don't want to speculate, because I don't have a confirmation for it. I'm
Yeah,
I guess the cat paw mark is a confirmation too, but I don't know what it means or how so I
I
don't
would
know.
say it's a way of validating for you the experience was real because I have experiences where I know I'm being used for other races out in the universe. I'll wake up and like the back of my ear will have a spot where it's really dry and it's like different from all the rest of my ear.
Yes,
And I'm like, oh, they took me. This is my first thought. And so I feel like that's what they were doing for you was because they were seeing you in your mind, like struggling, going, is this real? Is this not real? To show that mark so that you go, yes, this is real. You are who you think
yes,
you are, and you're not going insane, so to speak.
exactly. I guess, that is why I truly would love the community to understand that we are all a little piece of this puzzle. And our experiences are very objective for each one of us and very subjective for the others, but we cannot pretend that our experience is the law, because
Yeah.
we all lived different experiences and we should respect the way each one of us felt that experience. Because, in my case, the mantis, I wasn't scared and I learned from her. But there are other experiencers that have had really tough experiences and post trauma, and this is real, and we shouldn't judge. We should respect and love and support each other, and especially respect our experiences. So, you know, share and stay strong and know that sharing is a confirmation for all of us. And please be respectful because we don't, the truth is that there, we are trying to understand there are no experts in this field. Till we don't sit with aliens, there are no experts. So there is no point of joking and judging. And, on the contrary, the message, the alien message, in my opinion, through what I feel, is stay humane, love each other, support each other. There is not another way. That's the beauty of the humankind. We are all different with our different colors, with our different opinions, even with our different gods. But spirituality goes further. Religion is one thing. Spirituality goes further. Who are you as a human being? Your empathy, your love, and your support for each other. And that's how we should look at it. I'm thinking right now about Three Eye Atlas, and now it became like a battle between the ones that think it's alien and the ones that not. And so each one joke at each other. And I say, like, why are we always looking for division? We should look at Three Eye Atlas, alien or not, as something that we should, think about the implications for humankind and how are we going to deal with this together as earthlings, whether is alien or not. So stop all the dividing situation and let's start thinking together to build the puzzle together. See?
And what's interesting is I have a lot of friends who talk with other races out there and have different experiences, and the one common thread you actually hit the nail on the head with is a lot of them have ascended and have gone into new paths that we are yet to master, but we have mastered something that they have forgotten, and that is the emotions. We
Yeah.
feel in ways they can't, and so they have to come here to study us to learn how to
Yes.
feel again.
Yes. True. That's my feeling too. There is something so beautiful about the human experience on earth and the fact that we can feel, sadness and happiness and, every single feeling. It's so important. And for some reason, it seems they lack of it. And so they need it for some reason, even for their hybrids, you know. And so we should go back to love and support each other
I
and
agree.
understand that we are trying to build a better world for our kids, for our children. So be an empath, love, support. It's not so hard, it's free, you know.
Yeah, and we actually have a couple questions in the chat room. One that came up earlier was Monisha Moxley. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She's asking your thoughts on is she's curious if the boy had autism because She has two autistic sons and they communicate telepathically.
Monisha, great to see you. Thank you for your question. Well, I don't know what boy you're talking about. If you're
The
talking
one that
about
was
my boy
escorting you.
in the desert,
Yeah.
no, no, they did not. He didn't um had any signals of an autism situation. I think he was more kind of a hybrid with kind of natural telepathic, um, a natural telepathic situation. But I truly believe what is going on now with the telepathy tapes is super important because sometimes I've been wondering lately if what we are used to call mental illness, including schizophrenia, schizophrenia, and maybe we are talking about people that can see dimensions differently or are connected to those dimensions that we cannot see. And so I wouldn't be surprised if people with autism can telepathically communicate. And it's beautiful. And it also shows us how much we don't know about our brain because it's not trained. I guess if we were trained since birth, we could do it too, but we are
Yeah.
not trained, so we don't know.
I've worked with
So,
some autistic kids, and I feel like they're on an evolutionary scale ahead of us.
yes.
Actually, we're
Yeah.
having to catch up with them.
Yeah, they are. It's beautiful, beautiful. They are beautiful persons. Yes.
And the next question comes from Home Gym Physique. And he is asking, what does your family and friends think of your special situation?
Jim, thank you so much for your question. Oh my God. Well, it's been a process, I have to say, because um, well, when I was a child, and I tried to mention this to my mother when we were looking at this series, from the States. Well, I said like to my mom, Mom, that's them. And my mother was like, oh no, oh my God, this is Hollywood. Like, but now I think they've come to understand that this is real. They are more aware. They are asking questions. They've seen all the process and they are totally supportive. My mother and my sisters are in my Facebook group, Area 50 Human UFO UAP News. And my mother now is super updated on 3i Atlas and everything. So I am so happy because I can see that somehow, even with my own family, um, you know, consciousness is growing, and when you touch hearts and you put this little seed in people, they can do with that seed whatever they want, even ignore it. But those that take that seed and start researching and wondering, well, the job is done, you know and this is our task. So thank you so much for your question. Great question. And I would just recommend to take it easy. Not everyone is ready for understanding these. Not everyone is ready to share, but especially to understand The people that haven't, or that were not in these kind of experiences, for them it's harder to understand, and it's not so complicated to understand it, because, for example, if I suffer from post trauma, having had a bad experience with humans, and humans, it's hard for them to get it. Well, it's harder to get an alien experience, even for your family. So be patient, take it easy. Be aware of how much information even you want to share. You don't need to open everything, Not everyone is in the same stage of consciousness, including your family. So you need to know how much you can talk and with whom. That's the point, including your family and kids. So I always say talk, but be aware that not everyone will get it, and it's fine. It's totally fine as long as you stand by your experience, because you know what you saw and you know what you felt, you know. So there will
Exactly.
always be people judging you, and it's okay, you know. Just go on, go on. You are not alone. That's the point. You are a beautiful, huge community. Find the right people for you, for your path. And there is always someone ready to hold your hand and, you know, go ahead.
Yeah, and we have one more question actually in the chat room. Jim, Lucier Mystery School is asking, hi, Polly. Do you think that telepathy can also be a form of intuitive knowing? Thank you.
Hmm. Great question. Well, intuition is something that I always say follow your intuition. When you feel that gut feeling that something is not okay, or something's wrong, or maybe I should not get inside that situation, listen to yourself, listen to your instinct, because that is kind of your soul telling you to be aware of something. But I see telepathy as something different. I see telepathy as a kind of communication that we just don't know how to use, because we were not taught how to use it. But I guess the moment you um, learn, prepare yourself, and train your brain, it's possible. And I guess there are some people, I don't know if it's according to your empathy or your frequency or to what. Maybe there are people that it's easier for them to make these kind of connections, right? But it doesn't mean that it's impossible. I think everyone can make it if you try and if you train yourself. But I think it's
I,
two different things.
yeah, I'm gonna kind of sidestep a little bit and say I think a lot of people are more telepathic than they realize, because
Yes,
how many times, can we say in life that we were like, when you're driving down the road and you hear you're in your thoughts, turn right instead of going straight. That I think is your guide and talking to you through telepathy. We don't necessarily use it to talk to each other, but I think we use it to talk to entities that are looking down on Earth that may not be on Earth.
agree. Agree. I totally agree. The thing is that we are not aware of it, you know, because maybe it comes with us as a natural thing. Like we are born with it, naturally, and maybe we use it in our everyday, even with our family, or when you feel like a relative is going to call, and and you feel the call and it suddenly happens. Well, I believe it happens every day. We are just not aware of it. And if we train our brains, and if we were more aware of it, well, we could use it in our everyday life as a regular thing, I guess. No.
I agree, and we're actually at the hour mark, and because it's so early there, I want to respect that and your situation of what's going on around you. So I wanted to say, let's pick this up with another episode because I feel like there's so much more to talk about, and I feel like, we, in a more earlier time, maybe could communicate more and share more because it is early in the morning for you, and I know you say you don't sleep, but you have a lot of stress going on over there, so I want to make sure you take care of yourself.
Oh, Michael, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm used to work with your hours, I guess. So I'm used to, it's my 5 a.m. right now. But I am in the other side of the world. But this was amazing, and it's really an honor. And I want to say thank you for your work and for the invite, and wish you good luck with your book. I am so proud of you. And the message for everyone is stay humane, love each other. Thank you so much for coming, joining, watching, and listening. Keep sharing. I love you all very much. And come and join me in Facebook, Area 50 Human, UFO UAP News in Facebook.
The link is in the description, and for those who may not be aware, we keep talking about she's on the other side of the world. She's actually in Jerusalem right now, and so that's why I'm saying, with what's going on there, to I want her to be able to get to safety if needs be, because they're not exactly in a safe zone right now, and so I don't want to tempt fate. But I also want to say, though, to you, Polly, from my heart and the heart of my show, thank you for what you're doing for humanity and for the
Oh,
other side.
the honor is mine. The honor is mine. We should hold hands, and that's the beauty of it. I love you all very much, and thank you so much for your support.
Yes, and do make sure you like, subscribe, and follow my channel because you never know when Polly's gonna make an appearance or pop in the chat room, and so it's a way to keep in touch and make sure you follow along so you don't miss another episode with her.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll see you in the chat. Sure. Everywhere in the pages in the chat, we'll find each other. Yeah. Love you
So
all.
thank you for your time, and do be safe. Do take care of yourself, and my thoughts and prayers are with you and your family right now, and always, actually. You know that from our conversations. So
I
thank
know.
you, and have a wonderful day and weekend, actually. So blessings to you.
Thank you. All my love.
And with that, we are going to say goodnight, everyone.
Chao, chao. Gracias.